What's up, profitable stylists? Here we go this week. Bernard is back in town. We are talking about success. Real quick announcement. Speaking of success, we are now at over 15,000 subscribers. Check the description for the link in the video, the
Description.
video link in the description below, because we have a giveaway going on for our appreciation to all of you.
Is that link
So
like a
thank you
video
for
of you
watching out.
begging for subscribers?
It's actually the reverse. It's me saying thank you for subscribing, and we're giving you stuff because we appreciate it.
No,
I
I love
didn't
seeing
realize
you
till you explained it to me. I've been saying click the subscribe button twice all this time.
subscribe and unsubscribe. Yeah, you didn't get
Yeah,
that?
I didn't. I would just like, if we're gonna ask people to subscribe, like really subscribe really hard, do it 2 times. And I didn't realize I was actually telling people to unsubscribe. That's how
Oh
much I
my God.
don't know about the like and the share and the whatever the crap. Every
Yeah.
video says it so much that I've like tuned it out now. I don't even care
Oh, I know,
anymore.
me too. I double tap on the right side of the screen and fast forward through the begging. Makes me sad when people beg for likes, beg for subscribes, beg for. It's like, come on, we know what to do. If we
The
like you,
only
we know
thing
what to
that,
do.
right? The only thing that matters to me is the comment section. If somebody's got a question, if somebody's got a comment, if somebody's got some constructive criticism, I want to hear it because
Right.
it helps
True.
make better content and it shows that somebody cares enough to say something, right?
Right.
Then that's awesome. Then I'm all for that because
Right.
that helps success. That helps you reevaluate what it takes to become successful and stay successful. So, with that said, you were actually at the Nashville hair show last weekend. What show were you at?
So sick too, man. I was hopped up on Tylenol Severe. This should be like a commercial for Tylenol Severe. I wouldn't have made it through. One of our family members is a doctor, and years ago he said, Tylenol Severe. First of all, when you go to get this stuff at the drugstore, it's not even in the Tylenol section. You know,
Hmm.
you got Tylenol, the different AM, PM. I don't know if there's AM, but they got Tylenol PM. They got Tylenol mixed with different stuff. And even the pharmacist had trouble finding it. I said, I think I remember a couple of years ago, it's like in the cold and flu section or something. It's a whole different section. And he had said it was the best. It might not be to this day, but it was the best you could get non-prescription. And I tell you what, it gave me a little energy. It's got acetaminophen in it also, but it's got all these other things that just, well, I was taking it at 7 or 8 in the morning, and then apparently you could take 2 more caplets every 4 hours. I was doing this 3 times a day for a few days. My head hurting a little from sinuses. I was coughing. It would take away my cough. And a few people were saying I could barely tell. I didn't know you were sick. I'm like, oh, God, I feel terrible. But I made it through. I did a hair show once before like this. I did go before the show to get checked. I didn't have COVID. I didn't have the flu. I didn't have fever. And I was on antibiotics for a couple of days before I showed up there. So apparently you're not contagious and you're on the mend. But no, I just started feeling worse while I was there. It was like the day I got back, I started feeling a tiny bit better.
You
So I
missed
don't know.
me. You were having withdrawals because I wasn't with you.
Yeah,
Got it.
you
All
weren't
right.
there. The anxiety, the stress of making sure I want to make sure I perform well and I give everybody what they paid for. I wanted to make sure I did a good show. And it did end up being a really good show. It's called the American Hair Loss Council,
Mhm.
AHLC, American Hair Loss Council meeting. I don't know. It's a smaller show. We've had Janine, the one who runs it, on here before. And I say smaller. It doesn't look so small, but it's 400 or 500 people. But it's one of the more expensive shows because it's a specialty hair replacement. If you've been doing hair replacement for 2 years or more, so you can't even like just start doing hair replacement and go. You have to have been doing hair replacement for 2 years. They kind of verify it through your website or social media presence. If you've had a website or a Facebook for 2 years or more that says something about hair replacement, and then you can go to the show because all the people you can buy hair from, and not 100%, like Hair Skiing wasn't there this year. I don't know why they're focusing on something else, but you got Hair Visions, IHI, John Renault, American Hairlines, which is Hair You Wear. There was a few others that I don't know as well. And then there's some marketing guys. You had Glenn Michael there with some like how to communicate and how to do consultations. It was a lot of fun. And then there's another show I go to in a few weeks called Transitions. Many of their members, because it's even smaller, more niche into hair replacement, just a small group of owners, where if you share marketing ideas and videos, that's what they get together for. So many of them go to both shows, and so they were there also. So we're having some side meetings with them for dinners and stuff. But the American Hair Loss Council, the thing I think is so cool about it is, again, like last year, I'm sure I said some of these same things, is you get to see all the vendors. They all have their hair laid out on tables, so you can't order all the hair from every vendor to check it out. I think they call it like a look-see box. Some companies have a look-see box where you can ask, and they'll ship you one of all the men or all the women's systems, and you can take a look at them. But at the show, you got the men's, the women's, the wigs. You get to feel them, see them, turn them inside out, feel the hair, put them on your head in some cases, like the wigs. A lot of the girls are trying the wigs on. Some tools to make this work, but then there's classes, educational classes. Each company is geared towards their newer thing or a newer technique. And I know a lot of guys have heard of a long hair bond. It's where you don't shave a lady's head and still put a hair system on by using adhesive. And it's like, how do you put adhesive on top of hair? Well, there's a way to put adhesive right on top of the head and get it to go all the way down to the scalp. If obviously it'd be thinner hair. But Caden, I think his name was, with John Renault, he developed a new technique of his own. He's a new employee of John Renault's. He moved from I don't know, somewhere in the middle of the country on over to California. He's loving his life because he loves the weather in California. Yeah, hopefully he'll love the expenses also. I hear that's a little higher in California, but right now he's just loving all of the weather and the new job and the new pay, and he's a superstar and he's brand new. But one of the things he's really brought to the market was a new technique. So that was kind of cool. His classroom was completely full, and he showed what he calls a tape stack bond. And it's basically a perimeter bond. We ought to have him on here one week to kind of talk about it, because I thought it was fascinating. But it's a perimeter bond done with tape instead of liquid adhesive, which was fascinating. Yeah, and then this crisscross twist technique, and then bridging tape over the little twist. It was fascinating. It was different than anything I'd ever seen before. I'm not sure if he completely made it up or if he saw it somewhere else and perfected it, because he did talk about some of the challenges he's had before, how it did not work so well at some point, and now how it works a little bit better, a lot better, because of some of the things he's done. And it was really kind of neat, because I don't know how much experience he's had in front of a crowd before, but he had some hecklers. And he handled them so well. And that, I really, as a professional, I think I actually enjoy that more than anything, is how a platform artist handles the crowd. Because I can appreciate all the choices and challenges, like kick that one out the room. No, I've never kicked somebody out of the room before. But I can see how some people would want to sometimes. But they're giving them a hard time and say, well, why wouldn't you just do it like blah, 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 blah? And he goes, well, you can do it like that. Right. This isn't the only way to do hair replacement. That's a great idea. And I'm like, wait, you're way too nice. He says,
you could do it like that if you want it to fall off in a week. Yeah, sure. Go for it.
There's a lot of other techniques out there. Most of the room knows that. We're all like, this is a class for this technique. That's why he doesn't do it that way. Shut up. We're here to learn another technique, not the only technique in the world. So it's so frustrating when people ask stupid questions. Like I guess some of them might be coming from different places. I call it a stupid question because I'm thinking I know hundreds of techniques, and this is just another one. Maybe some people are there for the first time ever, and they're like, this is the only way. It might be their first time seeing the only thing ever, and you do have to be sensitive to that.
How many times have we talked about it that somebody become successful with the one way they know how to do something, and now they're all in on that one way, and it's very scary because if you've achieved a level of success, don't broke something ain't fixed, or don't fix something ain't broke, or however the expression goes, right?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So people get scared, and then when they start seeing something new, it takes you out of your comfort. And if you're out of your comfort, then that's scary as well too. Like there's just too many variables involved, and it starts tripping out your brains, and you're like, nah, forget about it. I'm just gonna stick with what I know works, tested, tried, and true. And I don't want to rock the boat. But what if you did rock the boat? And what if you were either able to find that this was more efficient or better, and it could take you that much further? Or what if, God forbid, you were able to integrate what you're learning new with what you're currently been doing and make yourself more efficient in that way? Or, what if you were able to solidify and confirm that what you've been doing really is working for you and this makes you the most happiness, Like all the way around, it's a positive thing, but it is very difficult. Yeah.
It is difficult. Like RJ and I, my business partner, were having a conversation yesterday, and we are marketing hair extensions. We have a great technique. It's really fast and easy. As a matter of fact, let me share this little side story. At the conference this weekend, I usually have a pretty good plan for the first 2 days. And the third day, I kind of leave open, no models planned, because I figure we'll learn from the weekend and we might completely like pivot, adjust, do something different. I don't want a model locked in that I have to do that I decided I didn't want to do models. I just want to do question and answer. I want to do something different. So I leave that last day open. And with that last day open, there was a big learning curve. But one of the things I did was we found a random model at the show, put extensions on her. She didn't want them. We didn't talk before. We didn't plan her color. We just happened to have some hair. And Brennan says, Dad, should I open the packs of hair before the class? I said, class is just less than an hour. You can do a full head in less than an hour, right? He goes, oh, yeah, easy. I said, well, then can you open the packs in the class too? So I announce in the class. First of all, I walk in the class. I got my little JBL speaker. I forgot it at the booth, which is pretty close. So I go run and get it before the class starts. I start playing Bruno Mars Uptown Funk from my phone, and it's really loud. Boom, 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 boom. You ready? Let's sing it together. And so it's playing so loud. Even my wife's like, Bernard. I said, what? People are looking? That's the whole point. That's
the whole point, right?
I'm walking up the steps, kind of walking slow. Oh, no, I'm not really holding on my shoulder. I wanted to so bad.
It's like in the 80s, do the old boombox thing.
Yeah. So I'm walking up the steps, acting like I don't even notice these things playing too loud. I walk in the room. My son Taylor's like, that's kind of loud. I said, I know, right? And I leave it by the door. And then I walk in the room, and Brennan's just parting off his first section. Mariah is already doing extensions in the aisle. And so we don't have as big a classroom. It's not completely full, but it's the smarter, more experienced, ready to get started hairdresser. So everything goes really smooth. And I see the crowd around each one of them asking them so many questions about what's going on. How's this work? I was in your class yesterday. I was at your booth earlier. And I thought, this is where an experienced educator decides what to do. And it was like, I have a canned speech. I've got a complete presentation. But this is way better than anything I can do or say right now. I'm making two less experienced stylists get experience, or letting them get experience right now. The questions are real and raw, and they're going to believe these stylists actually doing the hair way more than a presentation that's canned and maybe all lies to get me to buy. That's the thought of the buyer. Is like, how much of this is true? How much of this is marketing? How are they really as fast as he says? Or so it's all real right now. So I'll let the real happen for about 5 minutes, which feels like a long time when you're just standing there watching it, And then I said, all right, everybody have a seat. Let's get started. Now that you got to ask your questions. And they were so excited. I said, I don't want to take too much time away from Brennan here, but he's getting ready to get started. We found this model in the crowd over the weekend. She wasn't planned. We happened to have her color or something close to it. He's got what I recommend for a full head, two wefts and a pack of strands. I'll explain way more to you in a minute, but he's going to open those packs right now in front of you. He's going to start doing hair, and let's just see how long it takes. And we ended up, it was like, class started at 10. He got started about 10:05, 10:07, something like that. And it was like 10:30 something when he's done. And he goes, done, Dad, because it's my son. He's like, Dad, done. And I was like, what time is it, guys? That's a full head of extensions. Done. So it was so freaking real that people were like, wait, what? He's done. Oh my God. They were just blown away at how in roughly 30 something minutes at a show with people digging in front, like asking questions, get away, let him work. I'm trying to show off here, And so he got done in like 37 minutes, something like that. It was 30 something. I think it was 10:37 is when he was done, and we started 5 minutes late. So it might have been, like 3 minutes. I'm not great at math, but somewhere around there. And so it was just people were blown away. It was real life. And I don't even remember what my point was when I started, but it was so much fun. Go ahead. You want to say something?
So I want to break that down because I got so many questions, right? Because I think this is what today's topic is about, is the importance of reevaluating successes. Because just like you said, it's such an insane thing. How many times have we walked into a classroom and we're reading the room and we're like, you know what? Forget the presentation. We're gonna wing this one. Like, this one feels, it's like a certain feeling, right? You're like, nah, we gotta wing this one. Or how many times have we walked in, we're like, all right, this part of the presentation is not gonna work for this specific crowd. Like, I just know,
Right.
I could just feel it's just not gonna do it. Now, it is the scariest thing to stand in front of an audience and you're just standing there not saying anything. And that 5 minutes, you're right, man. That 5 minutes feels like 30.
Yeah.
It is painstaking. And everything inside of you is like, all right, I got to jump in. I got to start talking. But then you're reading the room and you're like, all right, just let it keep going. Let this play out. And your stomach's in a knot and you're like, all right, just let it keep playing out. Let's see where this goes.
Right.
But it's making those choices. And it really is the difference between that much more of a successful show versus, how successful at a baseline. Like you project a certain level of success, but then when you make these changes on the fly and you let it go and it just gets that much more successful, you're like, man, this is cool, right?
Yeah.
So then, Brent.
And then we sold most of our classes right after that last day's presentation. And I actually just told my wife, I don't think we're going to do the presentation on the last day anymore. It's like less people. Seems like a lot of people are leaving. It's a lot less crowded. But it was the more serious people.
It was the more serious people.
Yeah, so you can't make that decision. It's hard. It's hard to know.
Well, that's where the consistency comes in too, right?
One of the very first questions that wasn't really a question. It was more of I guess it was a question. But right away, one of the most excited girls on the front row, she goes, so how did we get started in this? I was like, that's all I wanted to hear. That's the whole reason we're here. But I thought, you don't want to know a little bit more about this? Like how much it cost? Don't you have questions first? But yeah, they did. But
if it's one thing I've learned, man, when somebody is convinced and they're all in, forget about the cost, forget about the time it takes to learn it, forget about everything, man. If you know this is life changing, and if you know you got that feeling like this is it, this is the thing, that's it. You're gonna start telling your kids, no more cookies for the next week. I need to save some dollars, right? No more Wendy's drive-through, nothing. Everybody's eating rice for the next week. You got to save up them dollars. You're gonna find a way to find that money to get in on whatever you want. Like it's life changing.
That is a good point. That is a good point. That belief, once you have belief, cost doesn't matter. That might have something to do with what so RJ asked me the other day, we are having such great success with when we get in front of people and they see it and they understand how fast and easy it is, they want to do it. But who is our target audience? I can't help. This is probably not the time and place for this. I don't know. Some people might enjoy this, but I have I have a salon with some hairdressers in it. And I look at all the hairdressers that are at different places in their life, in their business building. And I've got like Vivian, super busy with highlights. Every day, she's got at least 2 really big highlight jobs. Sometimes she's doing a 3rd and 4th client, but she charges a little bit more and doesn't need to do more than 2 or 3 people a day because she does the really fine weaves. And then she's real busy with that new baby at home. She probably isn't gonna carve out the time because she barely has it to learn extensions. Even though per hour she could make more doing extensions, would she do it? Or is it that stylist that isn't quite busy enough or doing other extensions and says, you know what? The extensions I'm doing are great, But look at this on stage strand, beaded strand and beaded weft. It's faster and easier. If I switch over to that, I can do 3 people in the time of the one. I have more time to do more clients. I can still profit the same or more, 3 times as much, because I'm doing, you profit the same, but you do it in a third of the time. So if you do 3 clients in the time of you were doing 1 before, you can triple your income. And extensions are already profitable, even if you're doing a crappy brand, a crappy slow brand. You're making more money than the average hairdresser. So it's like, the conundrum in business for me right now is, who does the new extension technique? Is it the one already doing extensions, or is it the one not doing them, or is it the brand new stylist coming up that wants to? I don't even know the answer to that.
There's an old formula that says, and I'm paraphrasing, it's once you hit a cap, once you hit an income cap, your 3 choices are: you raise your prices on your existing business, your existing clientele, or you get rid of some of your existing clientele and you bring in new clientele at a higher price, or you do more clients in the same day, but you make your timing more efficient. So if you're spending an hour, you start spending 45 or 30 minutes so you can get 2 people in an hour instead of, 1 person per hour. So, so it's either efficiency, it's new business, or it's raise your prices. Those are the 3 options that the industry
and two of those options were both raising your prices. It was either raise your prices only on new clients or raise your prices on everybody.
On everybody. Right. So for the industry, for the longest time, these have been the 3 things that we've pretty much had, right? And when I say, and to split
or
the
just
efficiency,
work more hours. That's what I did. I did
That's
the
what I
dumb
was
one.
gonna say.
You know, when they say work smarter, not harder, well, I worked harder. I went from 40 hours to 50 to 60 to 80. I was working 70, 80, 90 hours,
Sure,
making a lot more money. I didn't realize I could just charge more.
you could charge more. Well, I've told a story where I figured out that if I get an assistant, I can double book. And if I get 2 assistants, I can triple book. And I was down to 15-minute appointments. I was driving myself mental trying to juggle and keep everything organized.
But you got to pay the assistants. They got to make money too. So you got to.
But it was so much worth it,
Yeah. You got to make sure it's worth it, because some people get an assistant and then just split the money with the assistant, and it's like, well, you just got 2 people doing twice as many clients, both making. You're not really making
money. You're
money.
making the same money, yeah.
And the justification is, hey, the assistant is usually a newer hairstylist out of school with no clientele, and they're happy to get the learning experience and any amount of money. So the lesser money is more than they would have made just waiting to make money from scratch. And so they at least are making some more money, and you're hopefully getting to put them out on their own and hire their own assistant, and after they've finished the learning process. I'm just trying to think through the justification, like,
Right,
why would an assistant be okay with making less?
Those have been the 3 things. So, but now we're in a new world. Now there's a new generation of hairdresser, just like you described. She can bang out 2, 3 clients a day and make the equivalent of a full day's pay, instead of putting in 12 hours and knocking them out every 30 minutes, turn and burn. And you still get your full day pay out of that too. And I'm not saying one is better and one is worse. I'm just saying there's a new way of doing it. There's an optional way of doing it. And that's where you got to figure out where you're at in your life. If you don't have the mentality for that hustle, because that does require a lot of mental fortitude to put in them hours, one after another, after an hour.
It does.
And if you're seeing 10 people a day, those are 10 different, very unique personalities that you're dealing with. Your brain has to be like a chameleon to be able to change and adjust your personality to be able to give that level of energy to make that person feel the experience. Like you got to have respect for every service you're doing, right? So then if you lower that down to 2, 3 people a day, are you going to painstakingly do a 4 or 5 hour service? And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's labor intensive. That's what I mean by painstakingly, right? Or can you do 2, 3 people a day and spend half that time as well too? And now you're, because it's not labor intensive, it's not going to be as mental intensive. You're still producing a full day's pay out of it. Where is the value in all of that? And that's where I think that's the evaluation that needs to be made, is where is the person in their life, and where are they at mentally, and how much can they handle or are they willing to handle. Because I think the thing with hair extensions, everybody understands and can identify that it is a very rewarding service. Hair replacement, hair extensions is a very rewarding service emotionally. It's a very rewarding service financially. And it's a very rewarding service physically because you're not doing the labor on you're not getting the wear and tear compared to haircut, blow drying, highlighting, and everything else in between, right? But the price point, the profit margin is there. And I think that scares the living crap out of people that they don't feel good. It's okay. You hear somebody say, "Oh, how much money you made last year?" "Oh, I made 100 grand." "Wow, that's pretty wild." "How much money did you make last year?" $1 million. "Man, I wish I could make $1 million." Like the mentality instantly changes. Wow, that's wild because that puts somebody that's making 50, 60, 70 grand a year to be like, he's not that much further ahead of me. Maybe I can, it's achievable, right? They can wrap their mind around it. "Oh, I made $1 million last year." Like, what? You're like, get out of here. Like, who are you robbing? Like, it's so far away.
Yeah, it's hard to believe.
It's almost hard to believe. It's unattainable. Some people think it's unattainable, but it's not. It's just what you're willing to apply yourself in doing, taking yourself at the level of success that you are, taking yourself out of that comfort level to bring yourself back to that comfort level, but now you'll be at a higher place. You'll be at a higher level. That's my take on it. I don't know.
That's pretty good. What's our topic today?
Trying to succeed in getting you to remember what we're talking about each and every week.
That's our topic?
That's success. Getting you to remember what we're on about. That would be my success. No, but that's everything we're talking about, though. Actually, you thought we're segueing, but it's really not. I think that really puts things in perspective. What is success? Like, what is the importance of evaluating success to figure out how you can become more successful?
No, I didn't think we were segueing. I really forgot the topic, and I was just trying to.
No, that's the topic.
I was trying to make sure I stayed on it. I was so sick.
You actually put us really on it really well.
I was so sick this weekend at the show. This is the second time I've done this. Once for Carrie. We had a sub-distributor in, where was it? I don't remember what state. But
Alabama.
I went to go do it. I think it was Kansas. Is Kansas a state or a city? Yeah, I don't know my geography very well. So I went to do a hair show, and I got so sick. I was making it through on Delsum, cough medication, and NyQuil. I was barely making it through the day. I'd go straight back to the hotel room and just sleep the night away because I had to do full heads of keratin bonds, and that was a hard job doing keratin hair when I was sick. Now, thank goodness, I'm a little more. I guess it's a sign of success because I brought a team with me. I had 3 stylists that were doing the hair. I had Brennan, Taylor, and Mariah. Now, Brittany was there helping out, but she's more learning than doing, although she did help a lot in the booth. When we got to a classroom, even on Friday, we did a class. We sold, we let people come. We did 2 different show specials. If you came on Friday before the show, we gave an incredible half-price education deal. But then if you came to the show, the deal was full price for education, kit, and everything, but we're giving away all the hair you need for your first full head of extensions on a client, which is 2 wefts and a pack of strands, even if it's all 22-inch double density hair, which could be a little bit of,
Okay.
So we're giving away a lot of hair with this, and we sold quite a few over the weekend, and Brittany helped with that. But even on Friday, I talked, an hour or 2, kind of setting everything up, why, who we are, what the product's all about. And then we went to hands-on, and we had 3 mannequins, and we had 10 people in the class, 9 at first, and so 1 was late. So we had 3 hairdressers with Brendan, 3 with Mariah, 3 with Taylor, and they went to town working on their mannequin head, all watching each other. That gave me a huge break. That was a big learning curve in the success of my personal life. Like, I was sick. I didn't want to do hands-on. I didn't want to do anything, but I made it through the talking, and then they did the hands-on, and it was great. Then I pulled them all back, answered money questions, consultation questions, how to charge, how to order, all that kind of stuff. And then similar in the show days, I stood up and talked. hopped up on Tylenol Severe this time, and so I could get through the days, and then they did the work. I did the talking, they did the work. So being able to get rid of the physical part of the activity. The other thing I did that was different that I found, Brendan he's tall and he's in the middle of the aisle in the front, and I noticed if I stood on one side, the other side couldn't see me. If I stood on this side, that side couldn't see me. So I was trying to God, where's a good spot? I noticed a couple empty chairs in the crowd, one on the front row. I just stepped up on it. I stood on the chair while I talked to the crowd. And then I started walking through the crowd on top of the chairs, stepping over the backs of the chairs. And people were like, be careful, because one of the chairs rocked a little. I was like, what's the worst that'll happen? I'll fall on the ground. I'll just get back up. We'll keep going, you know? Yeah. And so I wiggled a few, and they were grabbing the chair. But they could see me better. And it worked out really good. And I promise you, no other educator was walking through the crowd on top of the chairs in a presentation. And it was nice. I'm sure other educators got told these kind of things, but I had a few people come up to me and say, yours was the best presentation of the weekend, or yours was the best class I went to, or you're so much better than all these other classes I went to. Now, I'm sure they went to one after me that was even better, and then they had to retract what they said, but it was nice to be told by at least some people that I was the best one there. That felt great, you know. I didn't know that was a thing back when I wasn't so good. Nobody told me that. I didn't know people were getting told that, apparently. And so I just did presentations. We made a few sales, and I had to just guess, I hope that was pretty good, you know. Nobody. But now when you have people tell you, you're like, well, that feels good. And then I like to kind of look back and say, back when I wasn't told that, I must have really sucked.
So this is a good comment. The comment says, it's better to fail on purpose than succeed on accident. And I think it goes right into what you're saying. We put in a lot of mental effort practicing and preparing.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk in and you do your presentation the way you practice it and everything, right? And like you're saying, in the beginning, you don't get the reviews, or you don't get the compliments, you don't get the feedbacks, right? And it's not that, well, I mean, it's a fail. If you're not, right?
Maybe, right. You don't know.
But you were prepared. You had a presentation prepared, right? Whereas succeeding on accident is, you just show up and arrive and you're in the right place at the right time and you winged it and you said something out of your butt and it happened to coincidentally resonate with the crowd and you're like, wow, I'm a success. That's called a one-hit wonder.
That's
just
true.
Like in music.
You may not be able to reproduce it, right?
You can't reproduce it. You hear one song and that song is the song of the summer. And then the next year they come up with the next album and that album is garbage because, you know, it sucks.
It was an accident.
That one-hit wonder was an accident, right? So being able to come in and do that and then be willing to put in that effort and make the adjustments. You're still doing your presentation, but now you're adding some flair and some show by walking across the chairs because you couldn't think to put Mariah in the middle instead of putting, 7-foot tall jolly green giant Brennan in the middle, you know? So it's
put the tall guy in the back next time.
Yeah, put the tall guy in the back next time. But that just adds to the level of success. Being able to keep consistently doing what you're doing and powering through your presentation, but being able to make those adjustments too, to add that showmanship to the presentation as well too. Because you got to entertain. You can't just be informative. So. You got to have some level of entertainment for people to it's the different of, like eating a meal. If it's flavorful, you're just going to enjoy it that much more.
Interesting. I thought you were going to have more to say about
no,
the meal.
No, that was it.
That's your shortest point ever.
Success. Got him.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious. So we're talking all about success this weekend, right? Or this day, today.
I was asking Brittany and John on the Facebook Live earlier before this YouTube one. I was asking them, like, they're already at a level of success and now they're learning new hair extension. They're learning a new service to them, which is this hair extensions. So how does that take them out of their comfort level and make them feel like that scariness? Am I still going to be able to be as successful or more? And then what was their experience with becoming even, did they feel like they became more successful?
Yeah, that was fun for me because that's part of the success of being more successful I've learned doing these shows over the years is I can I could do a Facebook ad in the Nashville area and get some random girls that lots of girls want hair extensions. It'd be easy to do. But you know what I found lately is I usually try to get hairdressers as my hair extension models because that could potentially become a customer for mine later. So one was really cool. We were at a friend's barbecue just a week before the show, and I said their daughter Beth grew up with my kids, grew up with Brennan, and I knew Beth had gone to hair school because of Facebook, and I said, Amy, where's Beth at? Isn't she in Tennessee? She said, lives right near Nashville. I said, you think she wants hair extensions? And yes, because you know what? She graduated hair school just less than a year ago, and she's got that short, fried off hair because you know what happens in hair school with girls. They want to test and try every freaking product there is. They want to be every color there is, and she likes blonde the most. So she's always going back to blonde, bleaching out all the stuff they practiced and tried and had fun with. And so now she's like this burnt, yellowy, golden, orangey blonde, and she wanted extensions. So it was fun because Brennan and her were like 4, 5, 6 years old, running around in the neighborhood together, and now Brennan does her hair as young adults. So that was kind of fun to bring them back together. They haven't seen each other in a decade. She's got 3 children now. He's just newly married, and I didn't tell him till like a couple of days before, you're going to be doing Beth Prudhomme's hair. I'm sure she's got a different last name now, but I don't even know it. But he's like, oh, really? That's cool. So it was a really fun family reunion. And because she's an old friend of ours, I said, Beth, you don't have to pay to get certified. I'm giving you the certification for free. Since you came as a model for us, you get to have the hair extensions for free. She was so freaking excited to do this, and she was blown away how fast and easy it was. We picked up a new client. And then the next day, our model was a hairdresser in the area that buys keratin bonds from us and has toyed with the on stage, but she hasn't had good success. So she said, I got 2 friends. I said, bring them too. So we put 3 full heads of extensions on these 3 girls. The hairdresser and her 2 model customer friends all got free hair, and she does the hair in front of us, and she's not that good at it. So it was neat to kind of brush up her technique and skills and show her why it wasn't working good so she could be better at it. And that's why she's not doing a lot of it, because she did it wrong. And then she didn't take the time to figure it out right because she's so busy already doing other stuff. She doesn't need to learn it to move forward. She just reverted back to what she did good and gave up on the onstage extensions for the most part. So going there helped her out, gave her a free head of hair and her 2 clients, and Brennan got to feel like a rock star, being the one to teach her and do her hair and in front of a crowd and answer the questions and sound like he really knows what he's doing. So for the weekend, it was a success from every angle. We sold a little bit more than we did last year there. We will extend the show special to the end of the month, which gives us about another 2 weeks, and see if we sell more, because last year we ended up extending to the end of the month and just about a little bit more than doubling our sales of what we did at the show. So we did a little bit more this year, and we're hoping to go a little bit more than double again this year, hopefully. And either way, the show was a great success. And if we can just keep doing that and putting this kind of hair extension in other hairdressers' hands or clients' hands, it'll be a success for us and hairdressers all over the country. It really is so fast and easy to do. It's kind of like that from $100,000 to $1 million story you told earlier. It's actually almost so easy they don't believe it.
They don't believe it.
It's like they just don't believe it. So they don't believe it till they see it, and then they're like, even seeing it, you saw it last year. Even seeing it, they're like, wait, can you do that again?
They still can't wrap their minds around it. I can't tell you how many times I'll teach a class and I'll demonstrate it, and then I'll hand them the tool, and then they'll like, wait a minute, can you do it one more time? I'm like, there's nothing to do. What did I not do, or what did I do that you missed? They're like, well, no, you just did this, and that was it. Like, what? I think I missed, you must have done an extra step and I missed it. So now what I've taken to do is when I'm teaching the classes, the hands-on classes, I will literally explain what's about to happen. And then I will have them come to their mannequins and I will have them do, like, I will have them perform the steps of what I verbally explained without demonstrating it first. And it's been a fun little game that I've been doing. Yeah, because you see them, they're like, okay, draw the hair through. Okay, pull the loop. All right, grab the bead. All right, lock it in. And they're like,
done. Where's the thread? Where's the needle?
But yeah, like they're sitting there trying to find their fingers. They're trying to and you just see the wheels turning. They're like, wait, okay, I'm in position. Like I'm already in position. Like, yeah, lock it in. You're already in position. Boom. Move to the next one. Let's go. You're on a timer.
Right. Right. That's what I love. The stop and the marveling at their work and looking.
They're trying to lift it back up. They're trying to push the bead to check if it's tight. And it's like, dude, go to the next one. What are you doing?
You can't. It's so you're so shocked on the first one or two or three. It's like you do it and you're like, you got to spend another 10 minutes thinking, there's no way it was that easy. What I had to do something wrong.
There's so you know how I love expressions and I always goof them up. What is the one that says like if it's too easy it can't be real or it can't be legit?
Pretty much like that. If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
That one. Yeah, that's the one.
That's the feeling most people get.
That's the feeling that most people get.
That looked too easy. There's no way it could really be that easy.
There's no way, right? Because doing hair is hard. The only thing that's hard about hair extensions, and this all comes with success, it all comes with experience, is visually being able to look at somebody and in your mind's eye being able to map that out and say, right, I'm going to need to put one here, I'm going to need to put one there, I'm going to need to put some strands over here, blah, 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 right?
Well, that's placement patterns, and that's my second most popular videos on YouTube that I do is placement patterns. One is the cut, and they kind of go hand in hand. If you don't place them in the right place, that's what this layered haircut here is all about. If you don't place them in the right place, and that's what's been happening with hairdressers for a few years now that those wefts got popular. Everybody's going lazy, and they're putting all their wefts on like one row. Like this is 4 or 5 rows of a hand-tied type of weft on one row. If you put all the hair there, how do you layer this? It's difficult.
It's really hard.
Difficult to layer. It's not so easy, even if you do it like this. I've got, I don't know if you can see, I put 3. Yeah, okay. It's easier to see from the back. I've got a row of blonde, a row of brown, row of blonde, and that goes all the way across like that. So then the brown, it goes all the way across here too. So you've got 3 rows, and so still, I pulled it straight up on the head and cut it just to kind of show that you can get a blonde, a brown, and a blonde chop mark. Now I went in there and tried to razor it a little bit just to kind of show some people you can start to blend it, but you'd have got better layers holding it kind of out like this and sort of cutting over the top of it. It's hard enough to cut layers on extensions put in rows, but you can do it. You put it all on one row, it's difficult. So cutting has always been my #1 watched YouTube, and nowadays with people putting everything on one row, nobody's layering extensions anymore. What do they do instead of layering? They curl it. They
just it's this beachy waves. Everything is with the beachy waves.
They hide all the imperfections and curls. They just curl it and it looks good and they go. That's a lot of hairdressers' answers to a lot of mistakes. They're hiding their bleed marks. They're hiding their bad highlights. They're hiding their bad haircuts. They're hiding their bad extension jobs in curls. And it looks beautiful. So I get it because I love curly hair.
It looks beautiful when it's done at the salon and in a picture. But unfortunately, how well it could, because you're really putting the pressure on the ability of the client to be able to replicate those curls. And that's not fair. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's fair at all.
what's going to happen when straight hair comes back in style one day in a decade or two? Then people are going to have to learn how to cut hair correctly again.
Well, even not even winning towards that, like you're pigeonholing the client to not have a bad hair day. Like, because if they put their hair in a ponytail, or if they put their hair in a messy bun, that's it.
Or go swimming.
Or forget about it. You can never get wet.
Don't get your hair
you
wet.
become like a gremlin. You can't get wet. Don't feed them after midnight. You know, stay out of the sun. Forget about it. You know.
Yeah. Right.
So it's it's interesting. It's really interesting. So that's the thing. I don't. Other than that formula, that's my key. That's going to be my
the formula I like to use that I don't think enough people in the creative industry use. It's a basic business formula. It's supply and demand. It's basically supply and demand. I would never raise prices on just the new clients. This is my opinion.
Mhm.
At some point, when you get to the point where you're booked solid, if you're only raising prices on the new customers, that means you got to be losing them somehow. And maybe you have such good relationships and so good at it, you don't lose clients. So then you don't get the opportunity to make more money. So in my opinion, I would rather see you go up a little bit of money. If you're scared, just go up a little bit and see what happens. No matter what, you'll make more money. But you might lose a client, and that's fine because you'll replace that client at the new price. But you'll start to learn that you should be going up almost every year. If you're building regularly, if you're booked solid, you should be going up every year. And if you go up significantly, you'll lose more clients. And that's the part that hurts. You're supposed to lose clients when you raise your prices. Now, if you don't, it's okay because you went up and everybody's paying more and you got your raise. But you don't get a raise as a service provider unless you charge more money. You can't indefinitely work more hours. You can. So the other thing was do more, work smarter instead of harder, basically do services that cost more. But you know what? If you're booked solid, like Vivian doing highlights, let's say she doesn't want to raise the prices because she's scared. And she's not scared, but let's say she doesn't want to. And we say, well, maybe hair extensions makes more per hour. You want to do that? Well, she has to lose highlight customers to fit in extension clients. So she's going to be squeezing customers out anyway with higher prices. It's just a different service. So what's the difference if you just raise your prices on the highlight services or the color services you're already doing? It's the same thing as bringing in an expensive service like extensions. So for me, it's a little bit of both. Work smarter because it's better for your body. You know, doing extensions is going to be less demanding on you than cutting or coloring or highlighting all day, every day. It breaks up the monotony a little bit. And I do love what you said earlier, how rewarding it is. You named everything rewarding on our end, but it's also very rewarding on the client
it becomes, it really is. It becomes rewarding on the client side as well.
When you were listing out all the rewards earlier, I was surprised. I kept thinking one of them was going to be the client. And I thought, it doesn't stop. There's more. The client, and then Jude helped me at a hair show that he went with me with, and I didn't even see it. He sees even deeper. He said, you realize when you do extensions how happy you make the second person? I was like, are you talking in riddles, dude? I don't know what the heck that means. Who's the second person? And he said, the person who loves the person that you put the extensions on. I said, the second person? See, he is the second person. We've put extensions on his wife's head so many times, and he loves the hair. He thinks it's hot. It's sexy. His wife's pretty. He thinks it makes her even prettier, but he loves how happy she gets because he loves her being happy. You know, right, happy wife, right, happy life. So right, he likes his wife being happy, and he sees how happy she gets, which makes him happy. But then he also thinks it's really sexy to have long, thick hair, which also makes him happy. So he's like, do you realize how powerful this is to the second person? Like, no, never even thought about it. I didn't even know to care about that. But yeah, so many husbands, boyfriends, family members love their mom, their wife, their daughter. Actually, Shannon's mom loves it when Shannon has extensions. She loves how happy her daughter is, you know?
Right,
so
right.
It's crazy the web that you don't even
what
realize.
Is that called? The butterfly effect?
Yeah, right. You don't even realize how many people you're making happy through a set of hair extensions on both sides. It's like this ripple effect. On
It
the
really
hairdresser's
is.
on the hairdresser side, the money, the happiness, the joy, the creativity, how fun it is to do something like that. And then on the client side is just as much of a ripple effect. So you're right. It's rewarding all the way around if it's done right, or just the opposite could happen.
Or just the opposite can happen.
For
The only
everybody's life.
thing, right? The only thing I got left to say is this. As
Yeah,
far as
we got to end it.
supply,
I got an interview at 11.
yeah, as far as supply and demand goes, I don't know if this is the right way to think about it or the wrong way to think about it, but when I'm doing business coaching for hairdressers, I always ask them, what do you think in the salon, what do you think the supply and the demand is? And everybody will give their own answers in some kind of way. You, the hairdresser, the stylist, the person watching this video, you are the supply.
That's right.
You get to demand what your availability is as far as you being the supply, whether it's in your time, your effort, your skill. So yeah, demand your price. That's my words of wisdom.
That supply and demand, I guess if I didn't explain it right, it's just basically you do hair as cheap as you can at first. You got to get a clientele. That's the bottom line. You got to get people liking and wanting what you have. Then when you have no more time left, your demand is people are demanding you. Your demand is high. You have no supply left to give out. Your demand's high, your supply is low. The only way to flip-flop that and give more time is to raise your price. So that some of the people say, I'm not paying that price, goodbye. That's okay. Your supply opened up a little and you can demand a higher price. And so the demand changes as you change it's a direct correlation. So yeah, that's good. I guess maybe I didn't explain it well enough. And there's a lot of YouTube videos. Just look up supply and demand and how it works. But you have to raise your prices. But bottom line, when you get busy, and you're really good friends with these clients, and it's hard, and I get it, and it's emotional, you still have to do it. All right. Peace out, everybody.
Thanks for watching. Let us know in the comment section give us some success stories of your own. Again, check out the description for the video link for the subscriber giveaway. I hope you guys win. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you next week.